Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. We all know the Biden economy is taking the country on the fast track to recession. So interest rates are now above 5%. The Fed's openly talking about raising them at least twice more before 2023 ends. Now, as you know, every day on this channel, my mission is to protect you from despair. But unfortunately, many freedom-loving Americans think this is something we have to surrender to and just can't be avoided. But believe it or not, it is possible to beat the banks and the adults in D.C. at their own game. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. If you're wondering, what do I do in a Biden economy? This is for you. I am joined today by two very, very good friends. We got our regular guest and patriot par excellence, Michael Lush. Michael is my go-to guy on real estate, banks, and interest rates. And he, together with my other good friend, Joseph Aaron, they are both hosting the Bulletproof Financial Blueprint event in just a couple of weeks, which you can register for by clicking on the link below. And Michael and Joseph are going to show you how you're not just going to mitigate the effects of the Biden economy, you're actually going to profit in the midst of it. So Michael, Joseph, welcome back. Great to see both of you again.
Thanks for having us.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome to see both of you again. So let's dive right in here. We got interest rates now above 5%, and the Fed's openly talking about raising them at least twice before 2023 ends. How do you see the economy responding to this?
Well, actually, we're watching it today. Yesterday, we saw a pretty decent bounce because there was actual pause with this last meeting. But now there's some rhetoric out that, towards the end of the year, they will have some further interest rate hikes. So it's definitely something that we should be prepared for, something that we should be liquid for. And that's what Joseph and I are going to talk about today.
Awesome. Well, I mean, typically in an economic collapse, or at least a very severe correction like these rising inflation rates are pointing towards, typically that spells financial disaster for people. I know that's what I'm hearing people worried about. But you've noted, Michael in particular, you've noted this is a myth. It doesn't have to be that way. Can you explain that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we are not victims of financial markets. We are just victims of financial ignorance. The richest families in the world have endured wars, depressions, famines, culture wars, and evil empires, not because they were lucky, but because they were wise. Mm-hmm. So the greatest threat to patriots today is not the market. It's not knowing what to do, whatever the market says. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. There's a proven system and a framework for how to think about your finances that allow you to prosper in turbulent times, but not just for you, but to create a legacy for your family and your name to prosper for generations to come. So I'm excited and passionate about helping people discover where they are on their path to financial security and abundance and putting a plan together no matter where they are in the process that's proven to work. And, by the way, the plan looks nothing like how the average financial advisor would say. Normal results come from normal plans. And if you want exceptional results, you have to operate and think differently than normal people think. And that's what I like to help patriots see. Victimhood, it's a woke thinking process.
Yeah, it is.
The Bible tells me I'm not a victim, I'm a victor. And so
come on. Michael's preaching. Okay, Michael.
I don't only want to apply this in my identity and not just in my spirituality, but I want to apply it to taking care of my family for today and for generations to come.
Yeah, Joseph Aaron, I mean, I know you've pushed back on this woke victim mentality quite a bit that seeps in even to a patriot mindset.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's and the funny thing is we'll apply it in the school system, right? And it's like, don't bring your woke stuff into my schools. We'll apply it in our churches, and we're like, don't bring your woke stuff into my churches. But many times we're not applying it in our financial lives, where we're saying we're literally kind of passing that to other people. And so I love what you said there, Michael, because it's not financial markets that we're victims of. It's financial ignorance, and really all we have to do is discover the proven principles that have worked time and time again.
Yeah.
Well, so what give us a sense of the strategies people can use as a hedge against all of this economic instability that we're seeing?
I'm going to say something a little opposite. And the opposite thing is you don't really need a strategy. You need a system. So many times, like when Michael and I are doing these events, people will come and they'll come in the mindset and they're like, if I could just get one nugget, it would be worth the investment. And my response to that is, if you want a nugget, go to McDonald's, right? Because you don't need a nugget, you need a system. Right. People are grabbing a little bit here and grabbing a little bit there and taking a little bit of financial advice from this newspaper or guru over here and another one. And it's like those things don't necessarily all go together. Many times they work against one another. And so a system is an approach that's comprehensive, that sees all of the pieces. And so I think many times people are trying to solve the problem of their financial lives with a nugget here and a nugget there, but the real answer is a system. And what Michael's created is something that's called the Bulletproof Financial Blueprint. And this is a system that's been tested in principle over generations. It's similar to the systems used by the Rockefellers or other wealthy families, that up times, down times, it doesn't matter. When you follow the principles of a proven system, you get the output of a proven system, right? It's principle based, not give me the strategy of the week.
Yep. Good point. Yep.
Yeah. I know you're going to get deeper into this, obviously, on July 10th, but Michael, can you give us a little bit of a sample of this? And by the way, gang, if you just joined us, make sure you click on the link below. You can actually join this free training by clicking on the link and registering there. Keep in mind, don't wait. Seating is limited. Generally, webinar software only limits the amount of people that puts certain limits on how many people can come in. And we often have people just absolutely, what happened? I tried to register, but I can't. You get locked out. Don't wait. Click on the link below right now and register. It would be awesome. But can you give us a little sense of some of these systems that you'll be introducing people to?
Yeah, I'll take this, Joseph. So one, I want to clarify, it's not free. It is extremely cheap. It's a 5-day, what we call workshop. It is $97, but we purposely did that. So instead of making it free, we want to charge something so that you have skin in the game, so that you actually show up and you actually digest what we're going to be teaching over these 5 days. And when I say 5 days, I'm not talking about 5 entire days. We're talking about 1 hour each night where we go over topics, and then we spend another hour doing a live Q&A so we can answer some of the tougher questions. So we'll cover things, when we talk about the Bulletproof Financial System, number one is we need to find the buried treasure detection system. A lot of people don't realize that they have access to capital, large amounts of capital that they didn't realize they had access to. And we show them how to access that capital, very cheap capital. Number two is we're going to talk about to replace your cash flow system. So you have to adopt a totally different strategy of where you're putting your money, because that makes all the difference in the world. Why put your money into a system like, let's call it the banking system, where they're giving you 0.24% on national average on your money, and then turn around and lend it back to you at 5, 6, 7%? There's a far better way. So we're going to show you how to not only stay liquid and decimate debt at the same time, but also accumulate wealth. So dollars can be in multiple places at the same time. In fact, the same dollar can be in multiple places at the same time.
Did you hear what he just said? I mean, that's usually revolutionary to most people, Dr. Steve, because they're like, wait, did he just say that you can use the same dollar in 2 places at the same time? And it's like, yes. Yeah. Do you think the wealthy do this? Yes. Right. Yes. Why? Right. They understand things that the financial class and the financial gurus who've hidden all their wisdom with secret words and behind MBAs and all the other things. And really, it just comes down to common sense. But anyways, people love that part. It's so cool. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And then thirdly, we'll talk about the debt ninja system. This is, you talk about the wealthy and the elite. This is actually who I learned this step from, was a wealthy hedge fund mentor. At the time, he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now he's a billionaire. And he was explaining to me that mortgages are financial crack to middle America. The poor can't afford them and the rich don't use them. So we're going to go over the debt ninja system and show you how some of the debts that you're using, and some debts can be good debt. I actually was just on the phone with a buddy for an hour where he utilized debt to accumulate his wealth significantly. So some debt, as long as you know how to use it, can be good. So we're going to go over the debt ninja system and show you how to really use what the wealthy is using. And success leaves clues, right? So it's not like this is a top secret. If you just know where to look and look to find the clues that they're leaving behind, you'll figure it out over some time how to use the same system that they're using to get the same results. And then we're going to get into asset acquisition method. So now that we've shown you where the capital is, we showed you how to replace your debt and to get on something that's far more efficient to evaporate your debt, which also frees up even more capital. We're going to then show you the asset acquisition method, which is how to accumulate assets, cash flow assets, so that I can now leave a legacy for my family. And then number 5 is the bulletproof financial system, because we don't want to build something. This happened to me, prior to 2008, where I built something and then the markets collapsed again. I wouldn't call myself a victim. I was a victim of financial ignorance, right? But I built something and I had the rug pulled out from underneath me. However, I had a buddy and a mentor explain to me that there are ways that no matter what the market does, whether it's internal or external, your machine that you've built cannot be taken away from you. So that's what we do with the bulletproof financial system, is show you ways to accumulate this. And no matter what the market does, up or down, it is not affected whatsoever.
It's interesting, but just even listening to you describe it, it doesn't sound like it's particularly complicated. So what's holding people back from executing on these simple systems to protect themselves from economic disaster?
It's simple. It's the financial gurus that have purposely obfuscated from the truth. They've taken concepts that a 12-year-old can understand and placed cumbersome language around the concept so that you'll buy their products. The reality is that principles you need to understand are clearly understood with good old-fashioned sense of common sense, right? Unfortunately, the establishment has you convinced that you need them. So like you, Dr. Steve, I'm an independent conservative, and I don't need the government or some woke corporation running my 401k for me, because they don't care about me. The good news is, again, success leaves clues. And successful families from the past have demonstrated a simple sequence of steps to create personal financial independence and then generational financial independence from their nonsense from being peddled in Main Street America. So independence, that's what we aim for. And if you want to be independent, then you want it in your churches, you want it in your independence of your schools, right. You want independence in your finances. When you relegate your financial understanding to Wall Street and fancy words, you no longer have independence. You are dependent. So I'm simply helping people understand the common sense principles and systems that get them and their family free forever. So in short, all that's holding us back or anyone else back is our desire and commitment to be free. And just like the freedom in America, freedom will always cost you something. So you're going to have to spend the time to discover what freedom really looks like. And it's simple, but freedom will always require some type of investment.
Dr. Steve, let me just jump in here on this.
Please
too.
Do.
The reality is for all of you listening, do you feel financially secure? Like, do you really feel like you have a clear understanding with all the turmoil of everything from politics to culture wars to global economic things that are happening at a level that, man, there's so much that feels like it's happening behind the curtain that we can't even know. Right. It doesn't feel secure, and it's hard to feel secure. And the reality is the only thing that's going to give you a level of certainty and security and independence in your finances is knowing what to do. What are the principles that have stood the test of time, right? And that's really what we want to get back to, because there's just too much nonsense and there's too much noise. You need a system.
I love it. And I love how the idea is to get back. The way forward is to take a couple of steps back. Or I once heard it put, the steps that were built in the past are the only way that you can rise up to the future, as it were.
Love that.
Yeah, and I mean, but what I love about both of you is you both appreciate the importance of building a parallel economy in the midst of all this craziness. As a matter of fact, with guys like you at the helm, it's more like a parallel civilization that's rising up. So not just an economy. Yeah, no, it's awesome. So, I mean, why should everyone who's watching this interview right now, why should they click on that link below right now and join you for this Bulletproof Financial Blueprint event?
I'll take it, Joe.
Okay.
Most people think that they don't have the time, and really that's our most precious commodity. Is the reason why we look at finances is we're trying to take our finances and elevate our finances and create wealth so that we can buy time back, right? And just like you said, sometimes we got to take a step backwards in order to go forwards. Yep. So take the time, and some people are just resistant to that. Like, well, I don't want to take the time. We live in a microwave society, so just give me a zip drive and get me from A to B as quick as possible. There is some work that's involved, and you need to learn this. Our big philosophy here at Replace University is we don't want to give you a fish. We want to teach you to fish, right? Because without us, you're just dependent. If all we had was a zip drive to give you financial freedom and something happens to us, I get hit by a bus, where does that leave you? need to teach you how to fish. So that's what we're trying to do, is say, all right, let's take a step back, give us 5 hours over the course of a week, which is time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to buy your time back so you can spend it doing the things that you actually enjoy doing, not 9 to 5 building someone else's dream.
Wow. So good. And the reality is this is principle based. Like I said, you know, newspaper financial wisdom that you're reading in everywhere is clickbait that sells newspapers or subscriptions, right? But principle based financial wisdom builds legacies. And I know a lot of times, especially like with an audience who's like us, who are like, I love God, I'm passionate about God, I'm passionate about changing the world, fulfilling my kingdom purpose, right? And it's like, sometimes we're like, yeah, money. I mean, yeah, but I really want to just make the impact I'm called to make. But when Jesus tells a story to explain to us what the kingdom of God is like, he says this: the kingdom of God is like a man who went into a far country. And he gave to one man 5 talents and to another man 2. And you all know the story. I don't have to finish it, right? But he gave to them money, right? He gave to them money. And if you read Luke's gospel, those who were good at multiplying the money that he gave them were given charge and authority over cities. And if we're going to impact culture, we have to have the ability not only to multiply influence, but to multiply money. And so this is a principle that God gave. It's not our idea. It's God's idea. Money isn't our idea. Money is God's idea. And he calls us to be good stewards of it. And if you want principle-based investing, that's going to make you a good steward that's capable of multiplying, whether Biden's in the White House or Trump's in the White House. Right. And no, sorry, I didn't mention anybody else. Whether Biden's in the White House or Trump's in the White House, like, it don't matter, right? Here's the thing. I'm in charge of my house.
That's right.
All of you listening, if you could just get that, it's like you're in charge of your house, right? As a matter of fact, the very word economics, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going, Dr. Steve, right? It's oikonomos, right? The law of the house. Yeah. How will we govern our own house? And God has given you charge over your house. And part of that is managing it well to build not only your financial house, but a legacy for the generations to come. And that's what we want to help you to do. Click that link.
Wow. Beautifully put. Yeah, guys, you should know that Michael and Joseph are not just colleagues of mine here, not just associates over here at Turley Talks. They're friends. And I couldn't entrust you to 2 more competent and godly and wonderful and patriotic men. So make sure to click on that link below right now. I believe it starts July 10th. Is that correct, Michael?
Correct. Yep. 5 p.m. Central. 5
p.m. Central, July the 10th. Click on that link. It's life-changing stuff, gang. I've seen what Michael does and Joseph do. They both, I mean, they don't just lecture to you. They walk the talk, and they're going to show you and mentor you how you can do it. When you were saying that, I couldn't help but think one of my idols, Rush Limbaugh, always used to say, my success is not dependent on who's in the White House. I remember everyone saying, oh, Rush, now that Bill Clinton has won back in 1992, right? Now you're going to go off into obscurity. And he would say, absolutely not. My success is not dependent on who's in that White House. And it's true, whether it was George Bush Sr. or Clinton or the Bush W or Obama or Trump, it didn't matter. Rush was always on top, and you can be too. And these guys are going to show you how to do that. So Michael, Joseph, thank you so much for coming back and visiting. You know you're welcome here anytime. And we all look forward to July the 10th.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
God bless.
God bless, guys.